Okay, so welcome. We're excited to have you join us for our Smart Goals and Wins launch webinar. So we're just going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm Leann Murphy with MPowered Business, and we work with businesses and entrepreneurs, leaders of organizations to help them accomplish their goals and dreams. We help them empower their business. And so that's really the whole concept of our business. And one of the things that we find is most helpful is SMART goals and wins. I'm going to tell you what we mean by that. Most of us know what a SMART goal is, but I'm going to walk you through how to set SMART goals and how to move through actually making them valuable and useful to your business. So a SMART goal is obviously that's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And you'll hear different versions of this explained different ways, but those are the terms we use. Specific, and we've actually got a form that we use with our coaching clients to help them walk through that. So we say, what specifically do you want to accomplish? And be as specific as you can about it. How will it be measurable? That's the real key. How will you measure progress, and what objective number or other measurement will mark success? You have to be able to prove you did it. It's not enough to say an goal, smarter, better, faster. Instead, you want something that's measurable. So you need a number with that. How achievable is it? Do you and your team have the skills required to achieve the goal? Is it reasonable? Can you make this happen? And then relevant. Why set this goal? Is it aligned with your company's focus or vision? What is the relevance to your overall mission and vision? And then time bound. What's the date for the reasonable deadline? So when you answer those questions, if you just say, what specifically do I want to accomplish? Write that out. How will I measure it? What is that tool? Make sure that it's achievable, that it's something you can accomplish, that it is reasonable, and then how it's relevant for your company, why it matters, and then time bound, set that date, and then rewrite that into a concise statement. There's really a formula that makes this all pretty easy. That seems like a lot of work, but it fundamentally is X will do Y as proven by Z no later than this date. For example, our team will increase sales. That's the do Y. Our team will increase sales as proven by our sales report provided monthly no later than December the 15th. So our team will increase sales by 10% according to our sales report no later than December 31st. And so that is very specific. Again, it goes back to specific, it's measurable. We said by 10%, not just increase sales or get better at sales or make more sales, but we will increase sales by something measurable. 10% is measurable. It's achievable because we're not saying we're going to do 50% or 100%, 10%. But again, is it achievable? What's going to make that achievable? We've increased the number of sales calls we're going to make. We've increased our marketing. What is it that we've done to make sure that that's achievable? So it's not just, is it achievable, yes or no, but why is it achievable? And then is it relevant? Of course, if our goal this year is to increase our net profit by 10%, then we have to have an increase in revenue goals. Or if our goal is to increase our net profit by 4%, we back up and we find out what our revenue goal needs to be. And then time bound, we set a date on it by which we will measure it. So it's that simple. We call these SMART goals when they're a longer term goal, something that is 6 to 12 months or longer. That's a goal when we talk about it in my team, a long-term goal. But we talk about wins, what's wildly important now. And it's the same concept, but it's a much shorter, smaller piece of the battle. Instead of we're going to get 10% increase in revenue over the year, what are we going to do this month that's wildly important so that we can get to that 10%? So if our goal is a 10% increase in revenue over the year, obviously we've got to have increases along the way. And so we may have decided that this month we're going to have everyone set up at least 4 cold calls a week. And that's going to help us get to that 10%. So we're going to measure that this month and see how successful it is. So what's wildly important now might be, again, we follow the same formula. Each member of the team will have 4 cold calls over the next 4 weeks and document those calls on their timesheet. So each member is the X. We'll have 4 cold calls as proven by the log on their timesheet no later than the end of this month. So a win versus a SMART goal, they're really very similar in the formula, but the time period is shorter. Wins are things that I can get done in an immediate manner, and it's very important to my longer term goals. So we call it what's wildly important now, a win. And so we have wins that we accomplish between each team monthly meeting. And then we have SMART goals that we're building up to over the year, and those wins each contribute to it. This is critical to moving ahead because there's an accountability factor in this. So when we do the wins, we share those at our team meeting. We say, this is my win for this month. And then when we come back to the team meeting, we go through and we say, okay, what happened? Your win was this. What did you get done? And how can you show that you did it? Because we look at that proof. I know that sounds a little formalized the way we've gotten it as proven by, but there's got to be something that proves it. And it's got to be a yes, no, a pass, fail. It can't be one of those, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get faster, I'm going to focus on this month. It's got to be, I will do this thing and I can prove it by this measurement. And so that's really it. It's that simple, but it is powerful. If you can carve out a few minutes over this week and set yourself some goals, those SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound in each of your main areas of business. We talk about 4 areas of a business, the quadrant of business. We talk about profit, we talk about people, production, and promotion. So we always make sure we have a long-term goal, at least one in each of those areas. You may break yours down differently, and you may want to look at it differently. But what are we going to do as far as profitability? What are we going to do in the area of production or operations? What are we going to do so that we are more profitable? What are we going to do with our people? What does our team need to do? Maybe there's a new certification or new training that we need to get, or they need to be trained on a new program or implementation. And then promotions. What are we going to do in our marketing so that we hit that profitability goal? Everything feeds off of one another, but we have a long-term goal and at least one long-term goal in each of those 4 areas. And then our wins, those things that we announce from team meeting to team meeting, are guided. They're directed at achieving those wins. It's not the win itself, but it's something that's wildly important today that I need to get done before the next team meeting in order to be on track to meet my long-term goals, or for the whole team to be on track to meet our long-term goals. So it's pretty simple. Long-term goals, they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time-bound. I will accomplish Y as proven by this Z no later than this date. And they're long-term goals. And then my wins are the same formula. I will do this as proven by this measurement no later than, and we usually say no longer than a month for a win. And sometimes it's as short as a week. Win can be a very short period, but it shouldn't be longer than a month. And it's something that's very important. If I get this done, it's going to help me move the needle on my long-term goals. And if it doesn't help me move the needle on my long-term goals, then it's got to be getting an obstacle out of the way so that I can move the needle. If it doesn't do one of those 2 things, then it really isn't the win that I need to be focusing on. My wins need to be focused on moving the needle on my long-term goal, or removing a barrier or a hurdle that's keeping me from moving that needle on my long-term goal. That's what we're looking at. And so set those long-term goals, one for each area of your business, at least one, a year or so out, anywhere from 10 to 12 months out. And then your wins are all driven by those long-term goals. And those are short. They're a month or less. A win, the timeline on a win is a month or less. So if you will do that, it will really empower your business. It gives you a way to hold one another accountable. It gives you a way to stay focused. So set those SMART goals and set those wins using the same formula, and then follow up on them, measure them, and get with your team and find out where they are on them. We do them at every team meeting. What's your win between now and the next team meeting? And then what was your win between the last meeting and this one, and what happened with it? And we bring that proof to the table. So SMART goals, long-term goals are a year. wins are a month or less, but they follow that same formula. So if you'd like to get a copy of this handout, if you don't have a chance to copy it on the screen, if you will reach out to us at MPowered Business, you can reach out to assistance@empoweredbusiness.net. We'd be glad to share it with you. You guys have a great lunch.